Hey everyone, welcome to another video from Between CAD Classes. I'm Tracy, and in this video, I'm going to take you through part 5 of the caster assembly. In this particular video, we're going to take a look at creating the side support feature. Once we're done with this video, the only thing left is to go ahead and assemble these together. If you haven't seen the other parts of this particular video series, please take a look at the description where you will find a link to the whole set. You will also find a link to the template file that I'm using, as well as the detailed drawing, so you can do this right alongside with me. Let's take a look at the workflow that we're going to go through for this particular part. We're going to begin by creating a sketch on the top plane and then extruding it, and then sketching on the back of that shape, and then extruding that. And then we're going to add the circular feature and extrude that out as well. Then we are going to add in the angled support rib. So we'll flip back around and create the sketch for that, and then extrude it. Then we're going to add the main hole through the top part. And then finally, we're going to add the counterbore holes, which we're going to have to do in 2 separate parts. We'll create an extrusion for the hole and then an extrusion for the counterbore depth as well. So let's jump right in. I'm here in AutoCAD and I've opened up the support drawing and I've got the support layer current. Once again, you can find this template on my website. Just take a look at the description for this video. And I'm going to begin by drawing the base shape here. So taking a look at my detail drawing, the base shape is 3 1/4 wide by 1.8 deep. So I'm going to start a rectangle at my origin. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my top view here. And I'll zoom back out and pan over. I'm going to create a rectangle and I'll put in 0, 0, enter as my first point. And then I'm going to type in at 3.25, 1.8 to create a rectangle that is 3 1/4 wide by 1.8 deep. Now I can always add my fillets in the 3D mode, but I'm going to go ahead and add them to my sketch to make it easier. So I'm going to use my fillet command. I always love to type F and enter personally, but I'll find it here in the modify section as well. In the command line, I'm going to select radius. And then looking at my detail drawing, these fillets have a radius of 0.5. So I'm going to put in 0.5 and enter. I could use the multiple option, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick the first 2 edges and then press the space bar to repeat and select my next 2 edges. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my grid so I can see my sketch a little bit better there. And then I'm going to select my home button. So there's the beginnings of my shape. Once again, looking at the detailed drawing, I can see that this needs to be extruded up a height of 0.4. So I'll select my extrude tool, select my shape. Notice because I started with a rectangle, it's already one selectable polyline. If you did it with separate lines, you would want to join it first. I'll go ahead and press enter and then put in my height of 0.4 and enter. And that gives me my first shape here. Well, next I'm going to rotate around and I'm going to sketch on this back shape. That back shape does not align with any of the origins, so I'm going to adjust my UCS by using the 3-point UCS tool. So here in the coordinates panel, I'm going to choose the 3-point UCS. My first click is going to be where my new origin is, so I'm going to choose the bottom left corner here. Then I'm going to choose the bottom right corner as my X direction, and then the upper left corner as my Y direction. Now you can see my UCS is lined up with this surface and the XY is on that surface. I'm going to go ahead and type RE and enter to regenerate my screen. You can see my model updates just a little bit. Sometimes when you're orbiting around, the part will get a little too large or too small on your screen and you can just regenerate that. So now I am sketching on that plane. I'll go ahead and turn on my grid to confirm that. And now I can go ahead and create this next shape. So taking a look at my detail drawing here, this shape is up 1 inch from the bottom on the sides. So that means it's going to be at 0.6 from the edge here. And then we've got a circular shape we're going to have to locate. It is 2 1/4 up from the bottom. And then it has a diameter of 1.5 that I can see in my side view. Then I've got some tangent lines that I'm going to connect. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I'm actually, because my dimensions come from the bottom of the part, I'm going to go ahead and draw it from the bottom and just overlap these parts essentially. So I'm just going to start my line command. I'm going to put in 0, 0 and enter as my first point. And then again, as the detail drawing said, I'm going to come up 1 inch over here on this side. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on the opposite side. So I'm going to start my line again, start at 0, 0, and then I'm just simply going to come back over to the right here, 3 1/4, which will line up with that endpoint, and then straight up an inch. There we go. So next, I'm going to locate the center of the curved shape. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my grid just so that we can see this a little bit better. I'm going to draw a construction line for this. So I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint down here at the bottom, straight up that 2.25. And that's going to be the center of the diameter 1.5 circle. So I'm going to switch to center diameter, snap to that endpoint, and then put in my 1.5 diameter. And now I can go ahead and draw my tangent lines in. I'm going to use some object snap overrides when I do this. So I'm going to start my line command. I'm going to pick on the endpoint here, and then I'm going to shift right click and select tangent. Then I'll select this circle. And then I'll escape and repeat the same process. So line starting at this endpoint, shift right click tangent, select the circle, and you can see it creates the tangent edge for me. Now I can erase this construction line. Now I can trim this circle. So use the trim command in the bottom half there. And then I want to join this into a polyline. So I'm going to create a window around everything here, and then modify and join, or J and enter. That should now be one selectable polyline. Looking at my detailed drawing, this needs to be extruded 0.4, the same as the base. So I'm going to choose my extrude tool, select the shape and press enter. 0.4 positive would come this direction based upon this Z. So I'm going to put it in as a negative 0.4 so that it goes the other direction here. So here you can see these two parts overlap with each other. I'm going to union those together to make one solid part. I'll do that in just a little bit and union everything together. So my next feature then is going to be the raised circular shape here. Once again, it's a diameter of 1.5, and it's going to stick out 0.2. So for this one, I am just going to use my dynamic user coordinate system. I can see that that's turned on down here at the bottom. I'm going to start my center radius circle. And then I'm just going to come in here, hover over this surface, and then select the center point. And then since I'm in the radius mode, I can go ahead and type in my radius of 0.75, or I could snap to the endpoint of one of the existing lines there. Then I'm ready to extrude. So extrude, select the circle and enter. Positive is going to be coming this direction, so I'm going to put in 0.2 and enter. And now I've got my next feature there. So next, we are going to add in the rib. So I'm going to rotate back around to this side of my part. And then I'm going to need to locate it here in the center. So I need to figure out exactly where I'm going to be sketching this. To do this, I am going to need to select some points here. And in order to select a specific point that I want here, for example, this midpoint, I'm going to go ahead and union these together right now. So I will select my union tool, window around all of my geometry, and then press enter. So that I've got one solid object. Now I'll be able to grab this midpoint. Okay, so now that I've got these joined together, I am going to create my plane running through the middle here. And basically I'm going to use the midpoint of this shape as my origin, the midpoint of this one as my X direction, and then I'll make a vertical one for my Y. So I'll choose my 3-point UCS. This midpoint here will be my origin. This midpoint across the way will be my X direction. And then here in the positive Z direction, I will just click out in space to make that my Y direction. So now you can see the XY there. I'm going to turn my grid on, and you can see that that grid is running right through the middle of the part. So next, let's take a look at the rib. The rib begins 0.6 inches in from the front of the shape, and then it's going to go up 0.3 from there, and then at a 45-degree angle. So back over here, I'm going to use an absolute coordinate to do this. I'm going to start my line command, and my first point is going to be 0.6 inches in from here, and then it's going to go 0 up or down. So I'm going to type 0.6, comma, 0, and enter. And there we can see my first point right on that axis. It's going to go straight up 0.3. So I'll move it straight up in the polar angle and then 0.3 and enter. Then I'm going to draw this at a 45-degree angle line. Now I'm going to go check my polar tracking and set 45 as my tracking angle. And I'm not really sure exactly how long I want this to be, so I'm just going to draw it extra long and then come back and trim it. So next, I'm going to come back down to the bottom and start at that endpoint I created earlier, and then I'm just going to draw it straight over to the midpoint here, and then straight up until it runs into that 45-degree line. Then I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to choose my cutting edge first. So I'm going to hover over the line. I'm not quite getting the line that I want. I'm going to switch to 2D wireframe so I can see that a little bit better there. So I'm going to select this vertical line as my cutting edge, select trim, and then I'll select the right side here to get rid of the rest of that shape. Then I am going to join these lines together to make a polyline. So modify and join. I can see I now have a polyline. So next, I'll switch back to shaded here. I want to extrude this. As I look at my detailed drawing, the rib is going to be 0.4 inches thick. So I want to extrude it 0.2 each direction, essentially. I'm going to start by just extruding it 0.2 in the positive direction towards me. So I'll choose the extrude tool, select the shape, and enter. And then I'll put in my value of 0.2 and enter. And so now I've got half the rib. What about the other half? Well, when I extrude, the sketch is consumed, so there's no longer a sketch there for me to select. However, I can press pull the surface. So I'm going to choose press pull. I'm going to select the surface here, and then I'll put in a value of 0.2 and enter so that I press pull it the other direction. So now I have a rib that is a total thickness of 0.4 there. I'm going to go ahead and set my UCS back to the world. And then I'm going to union this one more time so I can get that all in one piece. So I'll choose union, select everything, and press enter. And now I've got my solid shape. Next, I'm going to add some holes. First, starting with the larger hole. Looking at my detailed drawing, obviously it's centered on the other shape, and it has a diameter of 7/8 or 0.875. So back here in AutoCAD, then I am going to use dynamic UCS again. I'm going to start my center diameter circle, and then I'm just going to acquire this surface, go out to the curved edge until it gets to the center point, then come back and click on that center point. I'll put in my value of 0.875 and enter, and now I'm ready to extrude it. So I will extrude, I'll select this circle and enter. And then again, I'm going to cut this, so I don't really care how long it is, as long as it's longer than the rest of the part. Then I'm going to come back and subtract. So I'll choose the subtract tool, select the main shape, and then press enter. And then select the cylinder and press enter to cut the cylinder out. Now we have just a couple of holes left. So let's take a look at the detailed drawing again. And we can see that we have two holes that have a diameter of 0.3. And they each have a counterbore with a diameter of 0.6. And those counterbores go down a depth of 0.1. So basically, I'm going to do this in a couple of different extrusions. I'll make a cylinder that is 0.3 in diameter and cuts through everything. And then I'll make another one that is 0.6 in diameter and only goes down 0.1. As far as location goes, I can see that these are located 0.5 inches in from each corner. Now the fillet radius values were also 0.5, so that means I can snap to the center of the fillets for these. So let's try that out. I'm going to start with the smaller circles. So I'm going to choose my center diameter. I'm going to snap to the center of the arc up here, and then I'll put in my diameter value of 0.3 and enter. Then I will do the same thing over here on the other side. Of course, I can mirror or copy, but since there's only two, I find it just as easy to draw a couple of them real quick. I'm going to go ahead and locate the center the same way and then press enter to draw the same size circle. Next, I'll go ahead and extrude these. So I will choose extrude. You might remember that if I'm having a hard time selecting the circle, I can hold shift and tap the space bar at my keyboard to cycle through the different selections. Shift, space, click. Then I'll go ahead and press enter. And once again, I'll just make sure I go at least as deep as the part. And then I will subtract. Subtract, select the main shape and enter. Then select the 2 cylinders and enter. Now for the counterbores. So once again, these had a diameter of 0.6 and they go down 0.1. So once more, I'm going to come in with my center diameter circle, snap to the center of this previous circle and put in my diameter of 0.6. Then I'll do that one more time for the other side. Snap to the center, and I'll press enter to accept the same size. Then I will extrude. So I'll extrude. Once again, instead of the shift space, remember it's sometimes easier if you go ahead and switch to wireframe and then extrude it here. So as I look at my UCS icon, a positive 0.1 is going to go up. So I'm going to put in a negative 0.1 to get it to go down. Then I'm going to subtract. So I'll go ahead and switch back to shaded with edges, choose my subtract tool, select the main shape and enter, and then select the 2 larger cylinders and press enter. And now we can see my final part with all of the holes. Next, let's create a detailed drawing. So I'm going to switch to the B-size layout, and then I'm going to switch to the layout tab, and then I will choose a base view from model space. I'm going to use this view as my base view, so I'll go ahead and click to place it, and then click OK. Then I'll create a right side view, a top view, and an isometric view. Then right click and enter. I've got my hidden lines showing in these views. I'm going to double click my isometric and I'm going to switch that to shaded with visible lines. And then I'll click OK. So that gives me my views. Of course, at this point, I can go ahead and add in center lines, center marks, and annotations. But for now, we'll stop here as we've got our part modeled. I hope you found that helpful. Give me a like if so. And remember, I have other parts that you can model, so make sure you take a look at the description for the playlist. Also in the playlist, in addition to all of the different parts, you're going to see how you can go ahead and assemble all of these parts together to create the caster assembly. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video from Between CAD Classes.